You'd be mad if you thought I was gonna get to the password screen and not show that title screen again. God, I love that. Hello everyone, and welcome back to Let's Play Demon's Crest. In the last part we beat the game, and now we have the password we got at the end of the game, which sets us back here to the world map. However, not everything is as it once was. First off, there's now a place on the very top right of the map, but if we take a look at our inventory while we're here in this town, something's a bit different. First off, we've lost all money, and we've lost all our potions, so I need to grind up to 700 gold points, GP rather, to get up to 5 ginsengs. But now we have the ultimate Gargoyle. This is what the password mainly unlocks. It's a combination of every Gargoyle in the game. It can fly higher, headbutt, charge forward, and I think it can swim. I honestly never taken it in the water. And I think the attack is once again boosted. Needless to say, for what we're going to be doing, this is very necessary, because the main thing that this password gives us, aside from the ultimate Gargoyle, is that 6th crest, which allows us to tackle the game's super boss. Yeah, weirdly enough, something that's not an RPG on the Super Nintendo has a super boss, and I find that very weird. Also, I grinded off screen to 700 GP, so I could get the 5 ginsengs that I need, because elixirs are not going to be too useful for what I'm doing. Either way, one other thing I'm going to show up before we head off towards that super boss is you might remember this guy here, the hobo in front of the thing. He has different dialogue depending on what you talk to him as. I already talked to him as normal Firebrand and the ground Gargoyle, but let's talk to him as everything else. First off, let's see what he has to say about the aerial Gargoyle. Hey you! You look like a good flyer. You should be able to fly in strong winds with things like those. Title. Whoa, you can swim? There are those who say there are treasures under the sea. Maybe you can find them. Maybe. Legendary. No. You're dead. You can't be that red demon. Please don't kill me. And ultimate. Hey, you're the one who defeated Phalanx, aren't you? I owe you my thanks because I did not like the laws we were forced to keep. No offense, but demons shouldn't have the power to rule, know what I mean? That's nice little dialogue. He's also basically there to explain what the forms do to some extent, you see, and that's the first time I've done that. Apparently flying upwards can actually destroy pots. The more you know. Either way, as you saw when we were looking at the map, that password not only gave us the ultimate Gargoyle, but it did unlock one final stage towards the top right of the map. So let's head on over there to face that secret boss, shall we? And I really recommend having 5 ginsengs before you come over here, because the boss fight here, I call it a super boss for a reason. It's hard. Also, you're basically required to use the ultimate Gargoyle to even get there, because they kind of throw every kind of challenge at you. The little steps you have to charge through the ground Gargoyle, underwater stuff, so on and so forth. I think the only ability that the ultimate Gargoyle doesn't have is the forward swimming ability from the title, but even then, I'm not entirely sure about that. Headbutt this! Which, the way you differentiate attacks, by the way, on the ground is by holding the D-pad in different ways. And enter for our super boss against the Dark Demon. This guy is annoying, and he has 2 forms that he has cycles between. First off is this skeleton one, which is the main one you're going to be doing damage during, in my experience. Because most of the time, its main annoyance is that electric ball that it fires out that's constantly tracking onto us. Whenever it charges up like this, get as many shots in as you can, pot shot wise, and then when it fires it up, get underneath him because he's causing a tidal wave to come under and try to flood you. Otherwise, the only attack this guy has that's not touch damage is those really easy to dodge and predict slashes. After a while, he'll switch into his second form, which is an angelish kind of thing that fires out forms all over the place that can also forms projectiles all over the place that cause projectiles to fall from the ceiling as well as from him. Besides this, the only other attack this form has is this really kind of annoying invincibility attack. I forgot about that. And I think he just fired out a form of the electric ball once again. Only that destroys the ground and walls, turns them into spikes basically. Which means the more you're progressing into this fight, the less ground you have to stand on. Thankfully in this run, he saved where I am for absolute last basically. So I was pretty lucky there. The order in which he destroys the area around you though is completely random, so be careful about that. Ultimate Gargoyle you know, obviously you're gonna have it when you fight this guy anyway, but it's basically necessary to do enough damage to kill him at a fast enough time frame, as well as do damage fast enough. Fang Talisman is recommended for when you're in this form, just so you can maximize your damage output, and when he's in the other form, I recommend using the Armor Talisman, just so you can minimize damage towards yourself, since he's gonna be hitting you a bit more often in that form. Because let's see, I think I just took 4 damage technically with that one projectile that just hit me. That's a lot. Honestly, the biggest pain in the ass about this fight isn't just the damage output, but how much health he has, because of that, the fight goes on a while, meaning you can take a lot of damage, and you can very easily still die even with those 5 ginsengs, so be careful, play it safe more often than not. Either way, one thing I haven't gone over in this game yet are the different endings. There are 4 of them. We saw the good one last part, and we're going to see the true ending after beating the Dark Demon. That's the main reason you go after this. But there are 2 other endings I'm not showing off in this. The bad ending and the normal ending. To get those, the bad ending you need to defeat Phalanx after defeating Arma twice, so basically you go to the final boss after defeating, after getting the ground and air crests. And the normal ending, you need to defeat Phalanx after obtaining the time crest, so have the ultimate Gargoyle, legendary Gargoyle, but before getting all the talismans. So basically, the good ending that we got last part is 100% ending. And in terms of what those endings entail in terms of dialogue, let's look at the bad ending first. If I recall, the fight with Phalanx ends after the first phase, so before he gets that golden paint job. I think the line that he says is exactly, what? Am I not destined to be the one? Then Firebrand leaves and the place collapses. Then dialogue, I believe, reads as, taking it by surprise, the mighty Phalanx was destroyed by Firebrand, so he could summon the power of infinity. His revenge complete, Firebrand left for the demon realm to rest his wounded wings. And then it leads over to Arma making some dialogue going, I never expected that Phalanx would be defeated. It is written that the one who defeats the king shall rule. The next time it will be my turn. With the defeat of Phalanx, the demon realm lost all order and fell to anarchy. Many now ask if living under the rule of Phalanx would have been worse than the hell they are now confined to. The end, and it does the usual role character stuff. And then the normal ending, which I honestly will look at as the worst ending, ends after the golden fight with Phalanx. Phalanx goes, my power is fading, but you shall not have the satisfaction of killing me. Then, similarly to what Arma did, he seals himself in the Heaven Crest, or whatever the last one was. Castle collapses normal. Then the text, which is yellow this time around, goes, facing certain death at the hands of Firebrand, Phalanx sealed himself in the crest of heaven forever. Avenged, Firebrand hid all the crests. Maybe one day someone will find the crests again and prove themselves worthy to meet him in battle. And on that day, victory shall once again be his. Then it once again fades into stuff, only it actually shows the crest of heaven, and it actually has Phalanx sealed inside of it. So yeah, sorry I'm not going to be showing those off, but I don't have enough time to play this game 4 times nowadays. I had enough time to do X5 to get all those different scenarios, back when I did Mega Man X5, but that was because that game is shorter than this. And I could do most of those along the way. Because I think Mega Man X5, that was a total of 3 playthroughs I had going on there. 1 for the true ending, 1 for the bad ending, 1 for all the rest of them. And a lot of that was just save scumming before and after a boss fight. But yeah, that's basically Demon's Crest in its entirety. Dark Demon, honestly, I don't recommend going after him for the most part, because the normal and good endings are good enough on their own. The true ending isn't very worth it. I'll get into why once we reach it in a few moments. Because the Dark Demon, while he's an interesting boss fight, is too much of a pain in the ass for me to really consider going after consistently, you know? It's not like, say, Emerald or Ruby Weapon from Final Fantasy VII, who I go for every playthrough because I think the rewards for them are well worth it, because they make the final area that much easier. At this point, you're already done with everything else in the game, so there's no real point to even fight this guy, aside from just a challenge every now and then. Heck, if I recall, most speedruns completely ignore the fact that this guy exists, because they're so focused on just getting the main ending. And he doesn't even get like a really interesting explosion effect, he just kind of fades. And what's a reward? Like I said, it's the true ending. Firebrand slayed the Dark Demon, who had lurked deep within the human world. Realizing that his true power was not derived from the really, really slow text scroll and the crests, Firebrand disposed of all the crests. and set forth for the demon realm. There, he hoped to find a true warrior. A warrior with whom he could once again taste glory of battle. I think that's supposed to be the glory of battle. Also, weren't the demon and human realms fused at the beginning of the game by phalanx? And that's basically the only difference in ending. After this, it's the same, the Crest of Infinity, going over all the Crest stuff, which I'm still going to show because this is the closest thing to a credit sequence the game has, if you haven't noticed. And that's Demon's Crest in its entirety. The bad and, I guess, normal ending aside. And how is it? Out of the Gargoyle's Quest games, it definitely is the best mechanics-wise, even though it still has some issues of its own. For instance, similar to, I think, more so Shantae Risky's Revenge, it has a bit of a pacing issue where you're constantly pausing to change forms. And I don't mind that in the long run because I play a lot of Mega Man 1 and 2, even though I play 6 more, and I have to pause a lot in those. But it still feels a bit awkward because I forget what L and R do in this game. I don't think they do anything. You could have assigned switching forms to that, even if it just had like a minor animation to switch, like fading to white really quickly. Similarly to how Alucard shifted in Symphony of the Night. But on the whole, I'd still think it's a very worthwhile game. I think it's only ever been on the Super Nintendo, though. I don't think there was ever a Virtual Console release of this. Let me look that up. But I do think it is worth your time to play, because it is, mechanically, as kind of a Metroidvania-ish title, pretty worthwhile. It can get a bit annoying at times in terms of difficulty, especially if you're going for the good or true ending. But I do think it's good, and the Gargoyle's Quest series on the whole, I think, is a very fun series. If I'm going to go back to one of them more often than not, I'm going back to 2, because I think 2 has the good mix of length and lack of bullshit. Because I still think Demon's Crest has its share of bullshit, even though I think it is the best in the series. Namely in the fact of getting endings or finding some of the items, like finding some of those crests was kind of stupid. Though this is a series I think could do with a remake of some sort. Like maybe go the Castlevania Lords of Shadow Mirrors or Fate thing, have them all be in one cartridge, like one game on an ongoing storyline kind of thing, but you jump between them. Like say, start with Gargoyle's Quest 1's plot, go back to Gargoyle's Quest 2 because that have the similar kind of thing that Lords of Shadow did, sort of, and then go into Demon's Crest. Up the mechanics a bit, graphically updated obviously, give the soundtrack justice, and have just like one big adventure. That could be good, and that'd also be a decent length for a kind of a game like this. If they do enough stuff to also revitalize the game by making it the same but different, you know what I mean? I think it could do really well. Like give it the Dracula X Chronicles treatment, where they remade Rondo of Blood, and made the stage design similar enough to be recognized, but also different enough to still be interesting. I would love to see that. Mind you, that would require Capcom to do something with the Ghosts and Goblins license, which outside the Marvel vs. Capcom series, I think the last time was on the PSP with Ultimate Ghosts and Goblins? Let me look that up. Also, it looks like Demon's Crest is indeed on the 3DS Virtual Console, so it's likely out there so you can still get more ports for today. Ultimate Ghosts and Goblins was on PSP, but when was it released? 2006! Oh! It's been over a decade. It's getting there for Mega Man 2, actually, now that I think about it. Ugh. It really is sad to see how much Capcom doesn't really ignore the series, because Mega Man and such still get referenced. Heck, the Legacy Collection, while I had some issues with it, did play well enough. But there's so much potential with the way that games have evolved for these games to still get good attention and play well, you know what I mean? Like, I know technically speaking, Ghosts and Goblins had that other spin-off, Maximo, and I heard that was good, but I never got to play it myself, mostly because I was, at that point, I think I was still focused more on my GameCube than my PS2. And if I was focused on my PS2, I was too busy playing, like, Onimusha 3 or Kingdom Hearts, one of those two, I think. I forget the exact time frame. But I do think this series deserves it, because it's honestly really good. And honestly, in terms of what's coming up next, I'm not sure, because, at least for me, Because for time frame reasons, it's currently May 2nd, just so you can know when stuff's going on. It's finals for me right now. And after this, I'm going on a trip, so I'm probably going to record something while I'm down there. But I'm not sure what I want to do. I could feasibly do maybe Ghouls and Ghosts, the Genesis sequel to Ghosts and Goblins, but I also kind of want to move on to a different franchise again, you know what I mean? Because a lot of my LPs like this are very impromptu, like I decide, let's do this instead of this. And I'm not entirely sure what I want to do. I'm in the mood for something not longer, but longer than 6 parts. But I don't know. I'll figure something out. Also, I love this song, but this game does not need a credit sequence this long. Although I'm surprised that there's no real credit sequence, because I think off the top of my head, the only Gargoyles Quest game that had, like, credits in the actual credits was 2, and I find that design decision odd. And yeah, I think I'm out of things to talk about, so I might as well talk about stuff that's happened with me recently. Obviously, I mentioned I'm at finals right now, and Persona 5 came out, and I played and beat that. That was fantastic. I need to start New Game Plus so I can get the rest of the trophies, namely Compendium, that last tool I apparently never made, Satanel, the twins, and I think that's it, because I got like 82% of the trophies on my first playthrough, including Max Confidant. I'm surprised I was able to do that. But that game was fantastic. In fact, that might be my game of the year. Sorry, Zelda, you're fantastic, but I don't know what to choose between the two of you. And I can't think of anything else to talk about right now. That is the kind of the danger with longer credit sequences when you're doing a game that you can summarize your thoughts on pretty concisely. And a series of that, for that matter, because like, we still have 3 minutes left, I think. And a lot of it's just Firebrand doing shit. Which, I suppose what I do find interesting about this game, I suppose I can go into this, is that a lot of the design mentality ideas are in a way very similar to Mega Man X. More specifically, the first one than the second one. Although, I suppose it doesn't do the stage alter thing that Mega Man X1 did, so I guess it's more so X2 or 3. Where you're just looking around in levels for upgrades to help yourself along. In fact, it is a lot more like X2 than I think about it, because there's little hidden passageways you can find to fight optional boss fights. Which is interesting that in a way that was Capcom's design mentality with a lot of games back in the day. Outside of like the fighting games, of course. And I always like seeing how much you can see of of a developer's other games in a specific entry. Like, even though Mighty No. 9 was average at best in my eyes, I can see a lot of the Mega Man in it and what they tried to do with it, just the fact that it didn't work out too well. Also, that's our other reward for beating the game, the Dark Demon. We get a cooler looking ending image. Though, man, Firebrand is buff there. Also, what happened to the Ultimate Gargoyle skin? Huh. Either way, yeah, that's Demon's Crest. I really enjoyed. I really hope you guys give it a shot, because it's pretty good. The entire series is really fun. Though, Demon's Crest is the best in terms of a lot of ways, be it graphically, mechanics, soundtrack. And it once again fades into a presented by Capcom screen, only I don't think this one leads into a password screen. It'd be cool if it did, because, like, if there would be, the way I would do this is add in a password at the end that allows you to have Ultimate Gargoyle from the start of the game, kind of like a overpowered New Game Plus kind of way, but they didn't do that. Which, can't blame them. But with that, I'm going to need to end this off here. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys next Let's Play, whatever that may be. Have a great night, and take care, everyone.